nobody on the roof. There were people,
Yeah.
because there were so many tens of thousands of people there. There were people that were seeing him, and there was one woman with a red shirt and
Right.
Trump all over
I
it,
saw the videos.
and she's screaming, "That guy's got a gun!" You know, you saw it probably.
Yeah, yeah,
There's
yeah.
a
No, I
guy
saw
up
the
there
videos.
with a
I
gun.
mean,
So,
it's like I guess, I mean, for my part, and I think probably many members of the public are wondering how the heck are, you know, basically people wondering by it, pointing out there's a guy on the roof with a gun.
yeah.
And they're seeing it, but somehow it's not being addressed. That does seem
Yeah,
crazy.
well, they're going to learn from this. The communication between the local police, who sort of had an idea, and then ultimately a man lifted himself up to the roof, could barely do it because he was pulling himself up, and
Yeah,
he saw the man with the gun. The man with the gun pointed the gun at him. He thought he was probably going to get shot, but he was like pulling himself up, and because of that, he couldn't get to his gun and he fell down. Actually, very badly hurt his leg, his ankle. I hear very badly,
okay.
but he fell down, and he did. From what I understand, he did say there's a guy up there with a gun, and the shooting started very quickly after that. I think it forced the shooter to go maybe quicker. He was supposed to be a very good shot.
Yeah,
My sons, Don and Eric, they can't believe what happened, but they said from 130 yards, a bad shot would hit that target almost every time. They said it's like in golf,
yeah,
sinking a 2-foot putt.
yeah. It's not a tough
No,
shot.
it's not a
Um,
long shot. The Secret Service person had the long shot. He had triple the
yeah,
distance actually. So it was a terrible thing. Look, uh, it's hard. I have to say this about the Secret Service. When I went down, and I went down based on I think they're screaming, but other people also, because people saw this happen. You had so many people. One of the miracles was that nobody ran. I mean, if a gun goes off, the crowd
yeah,
control people showed us this. When guns go off, and it does happen in stadiums at a soccer match or some kind of a match, everybody flees. They call it a stampede, like cattle. But everybody, and a lot of
yeah.
people get killed with those stampedes. We had
Sure.
more people than you'd have at some of these matches or these games, and nobody left. You had a small group behind us in the grandstand, and that was full. And you look at it as it was taking place, and normally they'd be running. They didn't leave. They saw that I was hurt. They saw a lot of blood, and they saw that I went down, and it's almost like they wanted to be with me. Well, out front, you had thousands, tens of thousands of people. As far as the eye could see, you had people in Butler, as far as the eye could see, and uh,
Yeah,
and a lot of press too. There was many cameras on watching this. It's what makes it so different, because normally things happen that aren't good, but you never have a picture of it. Here we have all these cameras shooting it, so
yeah.
sort of amazing. But one of the interesting things was that you didn't have anybody flee, you didn't have anybody stampede,
Sure.
nobody. And there were some people behind me. They stood up and they're looking like, I mean, I'll tell you,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
want to have them in a foxhole with you. I want to meet some of those people
Sure,
because
sure.
it's so different from what you heard. But so I was down, but the Secret Service
Yeah,
guys, there were bullets flying right over my head. You could hear them go whizzing,
yeah,
and these guys came jumping on top of me, and a young lady, Kate, uh, would jump. They moved so fast, and let me tell you, that took tremendous courage. Now there was a lack of coordination. There was, obviously everybody understands that somebody that building should have been covered, and
yeah, yeah. I mean,
that was
I
the
think
big
that
thing.
I mean, looking at the aerial views, that building would be like the number one spot for a sniper. I mean, it's like the if you were to pick like what is the favorite place, what if you so if the goal is to assassinate, what's your favorite spot? That building, the
You're
roof of
right.
that building would be number one.
That would have been the spot.
It's like you can ask for a better
No,
location. It's like number
no, that
one.
would have been the spot.
Um,
You know what people think
yeah,
is when the local policeman, who, by the way, he really he did what he was supposed to do. He couldn't hold on any longer. And then when he got
yeah,
his head just peeking above, this guy standing there with a gun at his head, and when he fell down again, hurt his ankle very badly, but he was making the calls. But what happened is the firing took place very soon. So what they
Yeah.
think is that this guy ran to his site, which he had all planned out with the gun. He ran to the site and he started shooting fast, and maybe that's why he sort of missed. I mean, he uh,
Yeah. But
he
as you
got
said,
me, but
he
it
would have
could have
hit.
been
I mean,
could have been a much
yeah.
bigger problem.
He- But he totally would have hit if you hadn't turned your head. So, like, there was it was a very near
It
thing.
was a
So,
miracle. If I hadn't
um,
turned my head,
yeah,
I would not be talking to you right now. As much as I like you,
exactly.
I would not.
Yeah.
I would
Well,
not be talking to you.
maybe talking to me from another realm, perhaps.
Yeah, that's
Um,
right. We'd be talking from a
so,
different place. But it was a very terrible experience. The Butler Hospital, they did such a great job. The doctors were so good. Everybody was so good. There was a mistake. If somebody knew, because people were hearing that, there was just a bad feeling that there was somebody was around. You know that story now. It's been pretty
yeah,
well.
yeah,
And
yeah,
if somebody could have said, because they've oftentimes said, like there'd be a lightning storm or something. Because I've done, I think over 300. I think I did a lot more than that, but we did a lot. And oftentimes they'll say, "Sir, could you wait 10 minutes, please? Sir, could you wait 20 minutes? There's a storm overhead or lightning or something, right?" And
yeah,
that happens
yeah,
often. And this would have been a perfect time for that to have happened, but it
yeah.
didn't get coordinated. That was the problem.
Well, it was your. I think your actions in the heat of a fire, and like what I find admirable there was that you can't fake bravery under such circumstances. The courage is instinctual, or it is not. It's not a rehearsed action, and so I just want to say that I think a lot of people admire your courage under fire there, and
Well,
yeah. So
thank you very
yeah,
much. I appreciate it. I didn't think of it. I just wanted to get up and I wanted to stand up. I wanted to let people know, I felt I was good when they were on top of me, covering me, actually, very much covering me and very bravely. But I wanted to get up. I said, I want to get up. And they wanted, they have everything there. They wanted stretcher. I didn't like the stretcher. And I knew I was hit in the ear, but I knew I wasn't hit anywhere else. They felt I was hit someplace else
yeah,
because it was such a lot of blood, and they were sure that I was hit someplace else. And they were saying, "Sir, you were hit in more than the ear." I said, "Nope, I was hit in the ear. I want to get up. Let me get up." And so I got up, and the crowd didn't know what to think. I mean, this was so many people, and you could see they were confused. They didn't know what to think, and I wanted to let them know I was okay. It was very important for me to let them
yeah,
know that, and they went wild. You've seen the after. They didn't go wild when I
yeah,
got up because they didn't know, was I alive. You really couldn't tell when I stood up before the fist in the air. Uh, they didn't know if I was alive. Nobody did. And when I put the fist up, they were just relieved and happy and thrilled, and the place went crazy. It was pretty amazing.
yeah.
It was a
Well,
terrible thing, but it
it
was
was
really nice.
incredibly moving. Yeah. Well, and I mean, speaking of the sort of slide that got you to turn that saved your life, really, was the illegal immigration
Right,
slide. Maybe this,
that's right.
maybe this is worth talking about that,
It
since
was it was
that slide
You're
saved your
right.
life,
No,
basically.
the illegal immigration saved my life. You're right, but I
I
had to
know
be at
that's
that
the.
exact angle.
I mean, that's a great one. Saved by illegal immigration.
The incredible
100%.
thing though, when you talk about the odds, you had to be exactly at that angle. But the incredible
Yeah,
thing is that the chart, I used it less than 20% of the time. It was just a moment.
yeah,
It's always on my left, never my right, and it's always at the end of the speech. So here
yeah,
we have it. It's on the right, not the left. It's at the beginning, not the end. And even the people that put it up, they were unprepared, and they did a great job. They got it up immediately, fortunately. But I looked to the right, and the bullet came whizzing by, hitting my ear. So it was amazing. But when you think of the odds of that, and
yeah, yeah,
normally you wouldn't use it. Normally I wouldn't have the thing, and then it would
yeah,
have been a very different story. It's very much. I I say an act of God. It's a miracle that it happened, and I'm
Sure.
honored by it. I'm honored by it.
Well, what were you about to say about illegal immigration before you were rudely interrupted with a
Well, I was
bullet?
going to say how good the numbers were. By the way, we're going back to Butler, and we're going to go
Great.
back in October. We're all set up, and the people are fantastic in Butler. It's a great area. Great, these are incredible people. Like the three that, in the case of Corey killed, and the other two, the families are. I got to know them a little bit, and the families are great. But we're going back to Butler, and I think I'll probably start by saying, as I was saying,
As you were
prior to
saying,
being so
so,
horribly interrupted.
yeah,
But
yeah. So rudely interrupted by an
yeah,
assassination
so it was.
attempt.
But no, but the chart,
Some people have no manners.
Elon, the chart was just a chart that in my last week we had the best illegal immigration numbers, meaning stopping. It was at the lowest. You've seen the chart. It's become quite a famous
Yeah,
chart,
yeah,
but that was the lowest
yeah.
point ever recorded. It was a really, I mean, I was very proud of those numbers. And then you see what happened with these people, Kamala and Joe. You see what happened. They just let it go. I had remain in Mexico policies. I had all these different policies that was so good. Uh, Guys like Tom Homan and Brandon Judd from Border Patrol. All these are all people that they've been on television. They says the best numbers we've ever had. We had so many different checks, catch and release in Mexico, not the United. We had catch and release in the United States. We had it in Mexico. We had so many things. We had things where if many people come in there, they have contagious diseases. We had everything passed. If you have a contagious disease, I'm sorry, but we cannot allow you into the country. So we were setting
Yeah,
literally records, and I all I was doing is showing that, and I use it sometimes,
sure.
and in this case, I'm glad I used it. I can tell you that, but they were fantastic numbers. But I'm going to sleep with that chart always. I'll be sleeping with that chart. That chart was very important for a lot of reasons.
Well, I mean, would it be accurate to say that you're supportive of legal immigration, but but we also need to shut down illegal immigration, and especially unvetted illegal
Yes,
immigration, because and that's not the same as saying that everyone who's an illegal immigrant is bad. In fact, I think most people who are illegal immigrants are actually good, but you can't tell the difference unless there's a solid vetting of who comes across the border. Does that
hundred
accurately
percent.
represent your position?
I say it
Okay.
very simply. They have to come in legally. They have to be checked
Yeah.
because look, Kamala was the border czar. Now she's denying it. Everything that I do, she's
Yeah.
saying she was strong on the border. We're going to be strong. Well, she doesn't have to say it. She could close it up right now. They could do things right now. It's horrible.